Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching or listening to Spoilerin Time, a Cordkillers production. Cordkillers, the show, tells you all the things you need to know about the streaming services, the hardware, to be able to watch what you want, when you want, where you want. And Spoilerin Time is what happens after we've watched them. We spoil them. We talk to each other about them. On this show, we're going to finish with Daredevil Season 2. Brian finally watched episode 213, the finale. We'll spoil episode 4 of Season 1 of Preacher. That's the 4th episode that aired, not the 4th episode on Sling TV. It's the one from 2 weeks ago. Justified, episode 11, Season 2. And, of course, the big season finale of Game of Thrones, episode 10 of season 6. I'm Tom Merritt. Brian Brushwood, you're here as well, but we also have a special guest.
Heck yeah. Please welcome for We Have Concerns and a billion other podcasts, one Jeffrey Cannata. How are you, Jeff?
I'm awesome. I'm so excited to talk about Game of Thrones, and I want to say right at the top, I don't know if you know this, Brian, but you're the reason I first read those books.
What? I did not know this. This is amazing.
You, in passing one time, were like, hey, I just got the audiobook for this series by George R. R. Martin. Did you ever read Game of Thrones? And I said, oh, no, I was going to read there was a time when I was like, I want to read a new fantasy series, and I was trying to decide between Wheel of Time and Game of Thrones, and I picked Wheel of Time, and I didn't like it that much. It was kind of felt a little bland. And you're like, no, you got to listen. You got to read Game of Thrones. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it was like, kaboom! I loved it. And
that's great.
That's because of you. So thank you.
I could die happy knowing that I made a positive impact on this world by being the pebble at the started an avalanche for you.
Many years ago. It was many years. It was well before the television series. This was like we were still doing the Totally Rad show, and it was long ago.
Wow.
Well, let's not waste any time and get right into the summer movie draft.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, how are you feeling about your season?
Wait, Jeff, are you there? Did we lose you, Jeff?
I don't. Is there?
Jeff, are you? You are aware you were in the movie draft, right?
I don't.
Yeah.
Is there?
What?
Do you guys need to?
No, I mean, you still have. You even have movies coming out.
Is there? But I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about the
something you guys talk about,
of your movies? Ice Age, Collision Course, and Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne's looking good.
Yeah.
How did The Conjuring work out for you?
Did it make $800 million?
No, not quite.
I don't think it quite got there. Not quite.
Because some of my early research indicated that it would break the $800 million mark.
All right. Enough. This is not fun. This is not nice. Let's just talk about the real news,
the real contenders,
the real players.
Resurgence making $41 million.
Yeah, dude, Chainsaw Suit is back in first place. They're now out of movies, right? But they're sitting pretty at nearly $600 million. Amtrekker sitting at $500 million. He's also out of movies with Finding Dory. DTNS, you still have... Wait, Star Trek Beyond is out. How did it do opening weekend?
No, it's not out.
Oh, wait, I just lied.
Out in July.
Okay.
Independence Day massively underperformed. So that's a big ding on whoever got Independence Day, because it looks like it's going to be a bomb.
Well, last week we were talking about Team Cordkillers outside shots at the top, and this kind of puts the damper on that. $41 million out of the gate is not enough to lift them out of rank 5.
Yeah, is it this week? Is Secret Lives of Pets? Let me double check that.
It's Legend of Tarzan, The Purge election year coming up this week, and then Secret Life of Pets is July 8th.
Following. Okay, great. Man, dude, that's great. So Team Night Attack sitting on 2 movies, DTNS sitting on 2 movies. I got to tell you, I think both of us are going to blow past the current number 1, Chainsaw Suit. It's a 2-man race at this point, right?
But Amtrekker's sitting in second. You're like, let's just let him enjoy that at least.
Well, no, I mean, he's going to be in next to last place. He's going to, even Cordkillers is going to plow.
Today.
That's fine. Good for you, Amtrekker.
I think a lot of people who are now going to see Finding Dory and other movies, maybe they'll want to see The Conjuring 2 at some point. Maybe there'll be like
never know, man.
late season
There's a dine-in theater, or a discount theater somewhere that's playing it.
I think it's really going to rack it in at the dollar when it hits the dollar theater circuit.
The dollar theater, is that still a thing? That's amazing.
All right. Let's get to what we really want to be here for, which is Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 10. What did you guys think of the finale?
You know what? Let me go first. Speaking about it in overall terms, I think of everyone here, I've been the harshest on this past season. I feel like George R.R. Martin's absence has really, really been felt. Especially like last episode was the Battle of the Bastards, right? That one was epic in scale, and yet I felt like failed to deliver on any surprises at all. Everything telegraphed from a mile away. This one delivered in so many ways. We got confirmation of fan theories about the origins of Jon Snow. We got we got surprise suicides. We got massive battles. We got finally, after 3 episodes of everybody casually mentioning that there's wildfire placed strategically all over King's Landing, finally we got past that part. It was I loved it from beginning to end. I thought it was super, super good. What about you guys?
Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away. Usually the way this show has worked is the second to last episode overshadows the last episode of a season, and I don't think that at all. I mean, I loved that second to last episode. It was epic in scope, and I think features the best, one of the best choreographed executed fights in a television show of all time, and maybe even in a movie of all time. But this one, it just felt like the pace was. It started in a really beautiful way. The music in this episode was great. And I think it's proof that even when things are predicted, even when the internet is one step ahead and has foreseen what the big reveal is going to be, it can still be satisfying. It doesn't have to be out of left field and a big swerve to make it seem impactful. Confirmation of the stuff that things have been building to is satisfying when it's done well, when it's done confidently, when all the pieces have been put in place beforehand. I loved it. I thought it was such an effective episode.
Well, and there was an inexorability to it. There was the fact that we're collapsing into 3 distinct sides. There's good humans, bad humans, and the white. And it's very clearly laid out at this point where it's like, now I'm just ready for the epic battle that's been 7-8 years in the making.
It does seem like the end of this episode was the placement of all the chess pieces, and we have everybody converging on Westeros and all the chess pieces are in place, and feels like next season is going to go boom, and I think that's going to be a real fun thing to watch.
Well, it felt like we were turning that corner from, we've got to get there. We got to do this to get there. We got to do that together. We got to put people out in the wilderness. We got to create tension. And now we've crested that hill. And now it's like, how do we get to the end of this story? Everything we were doing in this episode pointed us towards the end of this story. It moved us along that track. And like you said, I think the whole Jon Snow theory had been out there for so long, it might not have been true, but they'd already teased us earlier in the season with a trip to that tower, so we kind of knew it was going to be true. But that said, they didn't beat us over the head with it, but they also made it very clear what was going on. The only thing that bugged me about that scene was, why did they have her whisper something that we couldn't hear?
Because his name ain't Jon, dude. His name's not Jon. He's got a Targaryen name.
Oh, but they don't want to reveal that yet.
His name is Rhaegar Jr. or something.
Rhaegarito.
Well, we don't have confirmation that his dad is Rhaegar, right? But we all know that's going to be the case.
Fairly heavily, yeah.
I think
we don't actually have confirmation that it's Jon. There's just a very telling cut from the baby to Jon's face, so I can't imagine it wouldn't be. But they didn't show us that right in front of our face. I'm kind of glad for that, though, frankly.
So let's just go in a random hodgepodge order of moments that stuck out to us. After seeing Varys leave to 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 find allies or whatever. That moment of seeing I forget the old lady's name. The old lady
Olenna.
Olenna down in Dorne, and then all of a sudden out walks Varys. It's just like, oh, that was an amazing moment.
Yeah.
That 12-year-old from Mormont, House Mormont, still the best character in the show.
She's so
Lyanna?
badass.
Is that her name?
Yeah,
Lyanna
Mormont.
Lyanna Mormont. Yeah, she's the same name as Ned's sister.
I'm really I liked the intrigue, the fact that Peter Baelish is somebody who we like and don't like at various times. They very clearly colored him as the jealous lover in the end, like the sitting in the corner, and he makes his bet before the symposium basically, and he's not happy with the way everybody pledged their swords.
Right.
Well-
So we clearly have Daenerys versus Cersei.
Yep.
We clearly have Jon versus Cersei and Jon versus the Night Walkers, the White Walkers, the Night King. We don't know exactly where Littlefinger is going to go down, but I'm guessing he's going to be a villain in the final, pairings. The big question for me is, it seemed to be, especially with all the talk from Daenerys' side about, well, I got to go and marry somebody to unite everybody. She can't marry Jon, right? Because technically she's his aunt.
Why not?
Well,
It's
no,
the
Dude,
Targaryens.
yeah, they've made it very clear that Targaryens do one thing: marry their own, right?
I agree with that. But do you really think that's the big satisfying ending is like, yay, incest?
I think they positioned
don't
it
think so.
well. I think they positioned it smartly to where I think most people would palate some kind of like distant second cousining or whatever.
It's his aunt. It's his aunt.
Yeah, but like if your
dad's
aunt was
sister.
like that,
Marrying his dad's sister is going to be like the big high five end
I mean,
of the
in George
series.
R. R. Martin's world, absolutely yes. But I get what you're saying, Jeff. Is like, what's the spoonful of sugar they give to make that medicine go down?
Right.
so to speak. Also, we also have the wild cards of the Red Woman being turned away. I like
Yeah, I'm
kind
wondering
of
what's up with that. Like, I get why that was a great scene with Davos and everything, but where is she going to end up with the Brotherhood?
I think she will be off the map until she's needed to show up as a wild card at some point, right? I mean, that's clearly what they did. They've set up Peter Baelish as a wild card. They've set up Melisandre as a wild card.
Well, and we spent so much time with the Brotherhood, and we never saw their Red Priest. So I kind of feel like that was an indicator that she'll hook up with them.
Yeah,
No,
that makes sense.
their red priest is the archer dude. What's his name?
Right.
Begins with an M, right?
He's the one that gives the kiss of life to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the archer guy. But I think that the books and the television show have definitely set up as a major subplot this debate about what is the correct religion in a lot of ways. And I think that a lot of that last ultimate resolution, I think, is going to have to do with the old gods versus the seven versus R'hllor, right? Because we don't know. It's this battle of religions in a lot of ways, too.
Well, and he's the god of fire, R'hllor, and the
Right.
White Walkers are ice. So I feel like there's something with that opposition as well.
Yeah. And how great is it that in the title of the book, which is A Song of Ice and Fire, this is another example, I think, of how foretelling things and setting things up and kind of knowing where it's going can still be really satisfying. We're in the position of having dragons versus zombies, guys.
Yeah.
Dragons versus zombies is going to be rad.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's going to be freaking amazing. Separate side note while I'm thinking about it, I was really struck. I don't normally notice these things, but hot damn, the costuming is exquisite in there. Like that outfit that they put Cersei in. Number one, like of on the great list of characters that I ever thought I would feel sympathetic towards. Cersei's dead last, and yet, man, did it feel good to see her get her vengeance on people. And then full on dressed like the Dark Queen that she is, sitting on that throne with her dark sorcerer by her side, and her undead guard. So good.
The
So
gold
good.
epithets.
Yeah.
Or epaulets?
Epaulets, yeah. And
Epaulets, epithets, both.
the
honestly.
the chains in front.
Yeah.
Well, and also the cut of it looks like freaking Neo's trench coat, or his samurai knight's outfit and stuff.
badass.
I mean, it's very Darth Vader inspired. It's great.
But even
So
the way
Jamie. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I'm sorry, I was just saying on that point, but even the way the episode started, dressing Tommen, and like he had like all those lion brooches or that necklace with all the lions, like all that stuff, is custom made for the show.
Handmade. Like you look at the stitching, like these people know the characters in advance, and they will design, like they will, they'll learn the lineage of a particular princess or whatever, and they will say, okay, well she has some lineage from Lannister and some from Tully or whatever, and they'll have fishes and lions and stuff like hand stitched into the stuff. It is
so awesome.
unreal, and not just in the execution of physical objects, but even in the computer graphic stuff. I loved that design of the way the library looks when Samuel got there, because you could tell like we're about to see a lot of books, and then it cuts
a little
over.
detail about the White Ravens, right, which is from the first book. It's just like this throwaway line about how White Ravens signal the changing
from the
of the
Citadel,
season.
right?
Love how much attention they pay to that world.
Did you catch the globe from the opening credits in the middle of the library?
Oh no, I did not.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So rad.
Because that's the center of the world. At least the Citadel thinks it is. I also was wondering, going back to Cersei, what do you guys think of the fact that they made a point of refreshing our memories that Jaime killed Aerys Targaryen because of his plan to blow up King's Landing? And granted, Cersei didn't blow up all of King's Landing, but he comes back to Cersei having carried out part of Aerys's plan and having no more connection to humanity. Like, her children are gone. She is now a mad queen.
Yeah.
Is he done with her?
He definitely looked askance at that situation. There was some stuff going on there that's not like, hey, I love my sister still,
Oh, I disagree, because I read all of that. Like, first of all, I read the 3 episodes of build up because Tyrion mentioned it and Jaime mentioned it or whatever. I felt like all of it was just so it wouldn't be a surprise or an out of nowhere moment when they discovered the wildfire.
I think you're right, Brian. But they also made a point of saying that's why Jaime is the Kingslayer.
Yeah, I think that's all just an ongoing bid to make Jaime more sympathetic to us. By the way, time out real quick. The execution of the wildfire, so good. I love the glowing green stuff. Everyone felt everything about that scene was exactly right. Where it's like you saw it, you recognized it. The burning down of the candles.
Yeah, when Bernie Sanders went up in flames,
Marjorie tries to get out, and you think, oh, she's gonna get out because we like her. She's got plans. She feels like and. No, Marjorie's toast.
Well, and so when they come over the hill and then they look down and they see this 9/11 happening in King's Landing, I felt like the look on Jaime's face was he was only thinking of his sister. He's just like, I gotta go take care of.
I took it as like, oh crap, this is not okay.
Well, I feel like he got there and then I think his initial reaction was something's happened. I got to go save my sister. And then he barges into the room, and the askance look is when he's like, he sees her sitting on the throne, and he's like, ew.
So Tommen's dead. Okay.
Yeah.
That's part of it for sure.
How great is it? Like, her whole life was about, you're a woman, so you can never be king. You will never sit the Iron Throne. In fact, you're a piece of property that has to be sold to Robert Baratheon to align our houses, and you will only be there to sire kings. You will never be able to be on the throne. And she, through all her trials and tribulations, through losing everything she's ever cared for being completely shamed and humiliated, she gets the thing that she always wanted.
And there's some part of us that doesn't have to like her, doesn't have to like anything about what she does, but there's this respect that I feel filthy for feeling as I watch her and her machinations happen. Even her horrific a calculated torture of the priestess that was giving her a hard time.
Quality work, Brian. It's a respect for craftsmanship, I think.
Yes, maybe that's what it is.
When she walks out of that room and she goes, shame.
Yes.
Shame. I was like, oh,
well,
man.
And kudos to the, I can't believe this is a sentence coming out of my mouth. Kudos to the implied rape rather than the explicit rape by an undead zombie guy. Like they didn't, they have been. I mean,
I didn't get that either.
Are you kidding me?
No, I didn't think that was implied.
Are you?
I thought he was going
to
destroy her in various ways, but I didn't get the
Okay,
rape
look,
part.
he has never taken off his armor, his clothing before. That is a moment of intimacy with the undead mountain we have never seen before. You're telling me that was not a metaphor for it? That is the most horrible thing I can imagine, and that is exactly
his helmet.
what. Okay,
right?
Sure, I'm sure he just smacked her around. I'm wrong. Yeah,
I mean,
no, it's fine, guys.
Imagine he cut her and knifed her and tortured her and all kinds of things, and maybe.
Sure, that's all
I don't
he
think
did.
it was that obvious. I
Sure,
think that's
that's all he
something you
did.
brought into it.
Sure, that's all he did.
I didn't get that. I would buy it. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I didn't think that it happened.
Yeah, sure. Maybe he just repeatedly fell on top of her.
It's clumsy. He's undead. Come on. All right. What about Daenerys and the fleet?
Functional. Which, by the way, I couldn't help but notice.
You're dead inside. That was the best part of the whole episode.
Well, it was great, but there was no. I mean, it was A and B and C. Like she said, let's get the fleet together. Then they got the fleet together, and then the fleet departed. I mean, yes, it was a very well executed.
Finally seeing Daenerys on the boat with the Dothraki.
I gotta say,
the sails aflutter. I was aflutter.
If it's me, I'm riding the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, for how long? It's a long
Eileen
ride,
said.
though.
Like, she riding the dragon? I'm like, no.
I feel like, it's nice to ride on the boat with the people, but if I get to ride the dragon, I'm riding the dragon.
Captain Kipper has exactly my thought. I was distracted by the fact that we had just seen Varys and Dorne 5 seconds ago.
That was a little weird.
And then suddenly he was like, hold on, let me go across the ocean so I can go back with Daenerys. Seems like you could write a letter.
Yeah, I did. The only criticism I have of this episode is that I'm sure if it was in the books, a lot of that stuff would have been decompressed, and especially Arya, Arya showing up, killing him quick, boom, boom. I feel like that moment could have landed, I think, so much more if there had been some more build up to it. It just felt very abrupt to me.
Yeah. Well, and Striker Rich points out that it is obviously implied that lots of stretches of time are passing without being explicitly spelled out.
They jump across time a lot. Even so, though, you're right. Why would Varys bother leaving Westeros? I don't know where they're heading. Maybe they're heading to King's Landing, but my guess is they would go to Dorne because that's their ally.
Sure.
Which is where Varys was. So
maybe he's got to come back and let him know that's cool to come to Dorne.
Well, okay.
Send a raven.
It seems like a letter would have sufficed.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a thing you want to say in person.
He just wanted to deliver the good news in person.
A couple more moments before we talk about Arya. We should talk about. I really enjoyed the intimacy and respect between Tyrion and why am I blanking on Daenerys' name? Yeah. In fact, and I don't even mind. They definitely put him on a step so that they were roughly of the same height. And I don't know in real life. Did I read this right? Is the actor who plays Tyrion Lannister? He's 4'10". He's not as short as you think.
Well, Daenerys is very short.
Yeah,
Emilia Clarke is short.
Emilia Clarke. Yeah, she's very short.
I don't think the two of them are all that different in height. I wonder if somebody has a. Yeah.
Okay, where are you going with this?
Peter Dinklage. Oh, no. Just I thought it was a really great intimate moment. It's probably the most respectful we've seen Tyrion portrayed in this entire time. We see, as he says, a lifelong cynic actually believe in someone or something. And I don't know. I found it very tender.
Me too. I loved it. That was one of those moments where I turned to my wife as we were watching when she pins the hand on his chest. I turned to her and I said, I love this series because it made this completely arbitrary made up thing that is completely made up in this fantasy world seem like the most important, beautiful, wonderful thing I could imagine being bestowed on someone, right?
Well, and how about Peter Dinklage's emotional reaction, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was so great, and I'm in love with the guy that plays what's his name? You referenced him before, the Onion Knight.
Davos.
He is so great.
He's great. He's
that
amazing.
Scene where he gets emotional, unbelievably good.
Yeah.
So good.
Absolutely agreed. 100%. So much better than I dared hope. I liked him in the books, loved him in the show.
Yeah. He has such quiet dignity about him. That actor just brings it.
Well, you could say that about so many of the actors, but him particularly, and I think Peter Dinklage particularly. Like you're saying, when he gets the hand pinned on him, there's 5 emotions within a second play across his face, and you believe every single one of them. How cool is that he is going to be going back as the hand to face his sister?
Yeah. And I think one of the wonderful things about what George R. R. Martin has done with this fantasy world is, you have little people in lots of fantasy stories. Tolkien has dwarves everywhere. But the idea of taking a real dwarf, what a real dwarf is, and giving it dignity in this world. And really, honestly, the whole series is about so many of the maligned minority groups getting their own chance, right? Women, homosexuals, dwarves,
the Unsullied.
Sure. Well, it's a consistent theme. What they do is they set up early on. There's us and the other, and then bit by bit it takes you to understand the other. And it's like including Jamie is a complete effing monster in the very first episode from the very beginning. He's irredeemable. He's Vic Mackey. He cannot no. And then sure enough you find yourself it makes sense. He was looking out for the people. That's why he killed the king.
And to complement the series some more, it's easy to do that. It's easier to do that in the context of a novel where you get these point of view episodes and you can be inside Jaime's head, or you can be inside Cersei's head, and you can feel what it's like for her to be locked up in a dungeon and have her inner thoughts be your thoughts as you're reading them. To do that in the context of a television series is much more difficult, and I feel like they figured out how to do it, and it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, I mean, that punch out with Arya, that's the one moment I didn't mind that we weren't, exploring the weeks in between. Is we get it. She's trained as an assassin. She's heartless, cruel, and angry as hell. And this I forget the name of the old guy who's fueled with
Waldor Frey.
Yeah, that's right. Walder Frey. Pure ego, bragging, 2 Kingslayers. Look at the 2 of us. It was very satisfying. Very satisfying.
That was a good setup. But I didn't think she had learned how to change faces, but I guess she did, which now makes all of her training make sense to me. The reason she had to go through all of that with Jaqen and leave before she was done is that she is able to do that now.
Right. Well, I think that the fact that she killed her killer gave her, that was the ascendant moment, right? Where she came back to Jaqen and he was like, yeah, you're cool. We're cool. Go off and do your thing. It's going to be interesting to see the other people on her list, right? Melisandre is on her list.
Right.
Cersei is on her list. The Mountain is on her list.
Well, the Hound, who was
alive
on
again.
her list. Yeah. I wonder if she...
Is it like Jon dying, though? He doesn't have to be Lord Commander because he died? Because you're like, well, I killed you. You just stuck around. So
that's what I think. I think it'll be something like that.
Out on a loophole.
So what do you think? One of the quotes George R. R. Martin said, and I don't know if this is a dodge on his part, but he pointed out regarding questions about the reanimation of Jon Snow, whether he's a zombie or whatever. He said, none of my characters come back. Whenever a character comes back to life, they are profoundly altered. I don't see that Jon Snow seems all that profoundly altered to me.
Right.
I don't know if that was an empty promise Although it does make me remember the fact that we briefly saw Uncle Benjen, Cold Hands, enjoyed seeing him and him saying like, hey man, there's magic on that wall. I can't cross because I'm dead, but I still fight for the living. Peace out.
Yeah, what is that about? I need a little more context. That was one of those moments where I was like, if this was a book, I think I would understand a little more what's going on with Benjen, because I don't know what's going on with Benjen. Like we got undead that are fine. How did he come back to life? Was he like hanging out with the White Walkers for a while?
Well, because the elfin people brought him back, and they're the ones who created the White Walkers, so they could bring him back in a way that didn't turn him into a White Walker. Was all the explanation we got?
Yeah. So okay, I guess. So they created the White Walkers, and they can also create non-White Walkers.
They were like, wow, we created the White Walkers way too White Walkery. Let's just water it down a little
dial
bit.
that back. We really shouldn't have gone to 11 on that one.
I mean, let's go Gray Walker this time.
I look at it as there's kind of, imagine there's different sets of rules. There's a black and white, but there's also kind of a turbulence in between. And that's where you get interesting moments that are, kind of like, yeah, he's coming back. It's not quite the same as the way the other guys come back, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as John goes, I imagine in the books, should he come back in the books, we will get an explanation of how he has changed and why he is different in a way that the television show doesn't have to address because they haven't ever made that promise. And he can still do all the same things, whether that profound change is made obvious or not, I guess.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because one thing Benioff and Weiss has said is we are going to get to the same destination as the book, but we are not necessarily taking the same path there.
Right.
Well, I think I could speak for all of us when we say that it was a pretty good episode, 2 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. No, I'd give it a full 2.
Okay, good.
This was I think this is a great season, and this was a killer cap to the episode. Let's move on to Justified, episode 11 of season 2, wherein Raylan makes witty remarks to people about things. And people go, wow, Raylan, is that what you really mean?
I
can't remember what happened.
Well, I mean, basically, this is the one where Art assigns him a babysitter, and he keeps playing the game of saying like, "Hey, I'm going to make a call I'm not supposed to make."
Don't investigate it, and he goes down and visits Margot Martindale.
Right, correct. And he says stuff like, "I got to make a call I'm not supposed to make. You want to step outside, or should I pretend to take a shower?" And then it's like, "No, you're going to pretend to take a shower." Okie dokie. The biggest thing I got out of this is we're seeing Boyd Crowder's movement to like full on like announcing, hey, I'm going to be a kingpin, going to be the #1 criminal in the area. And Ada saying like, that's cool. Just don't run whores. That's my one rule. Also keep me posted on everything.
And also he can't even really say that to her. He's like, yeah, all right, sure, whatever.
Yeah,
you're cutting out my like he plays with that. I feel like he's gonna let her down.
Yeah, is it Nicky? Is that the name of the guy running the weed?
Dicky.
Dicky. This is the first time we've seen him be anything. I mean, he's kind of a clown, but this is the first time we saw him bear anything resembling teeth, killing 2 of his own in order to sort of.
Is that a mountain person joke there you made, Brian?
I didn't mean to, but sure. I don't feel any fear for Dickie yet. I feel more fear for Margot Martindale, or from her. It was a good episode, solid, moved everything along. I think I'm ready for somebody to accidentally shoot the husband of Raylan's ex-wife. Like I'm just ready for him to be dead. I've seen him screw up in too silly a way too many times.
Yeah, we're only 2 episodes from the end of the season, so maybe he'll fall in front of a bullet before the end of that. Jeff, who knows whether that happens or not, is remaining quiet. Is there anything you feel safe saying, Jeff?
It's difficult for me. I will say this. This is one of my favorite seasons because of Margot Martindale. And that, each season has sort of an overarching big story. And that big story of how they are the sort of weed suppliers is really, really good. And there are characters here that are going to stay in the whole series and you're going to get much more deeply connected with in ways. This is one of my favorite shows ever. And it only gets better from here. And the other thing that maybe you guys haven't heard yet, rest assured and feel confident in the fact that the entire series ends in a very satisfying way. It is one of the great series finales ever.
Is it as good as The Shield?
I mean, it's not The Shield, but I mean, how are you
Raylan ends up
being
getting transferred to Chicago and has a desk job.
Yeah. Wow, spoiler much.
Ouch.
Okay, awesome. Dude, I guess we're gonna talk about Preacher, but did you want to buy? Oh, we could talk about Preacher in front of you because you read the comic book, right?
I have. I mean, if we're gonna, you guys are doing the next two that I haven't really seen, so maybe I'll peace out now because my wife is just texting me. If that's cool with you, maybe I'll just say my goodbyes now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Where can people see more of you?
Oh, you can always follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jeff Cannata with 2 N's and 1 T. I tend to tweet all of the things that I do there. Look at how quickly that happened. My goodness, you guys are good. I also do several shows. The most pertinent one is the Slash Filmcast, where we talk about all this stuff. We did a big talk about Game of Thrones last week, and we talk about movies and TV shows we're watching. I think it's really a fun, good show I'm proud of. So check that out at slashfilmcast.com.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. It was a pleasure chatting with you. That was awesome.
Oh, I love it, guys. What a cathartic thing to get all those Game of Thrones thoughts off my chest with you guys. It was really fun. Thank you.
Feels good.
Dude, it was great. Thank you so much, man.
All right, fellas, take it easy.
Take care. Bye. So this is going to be spoiling the Preacher episode that is about that ends with Jesse using his new special power to force the owner of the, what is it, slaughterhouse?
Yeah, this is the one that ends with him
to follow God.
Yeah, correct. Offering a TV to get the whole town in, and he uses in my mind it's the weirding way. It's Dune. He's That's
a really good way. I didn't even think about that. That's perfect. Yeah.
He uses his name as a killing word, and he speaks to the owner of the slaughterhouse. I thought it continues to be really, really good. It continues to shock in all the right amounts. This is also the episode where we see the phone ringing that the two angels, for lack of a better word, in the hotel. That's how the episode ends.
We have the funny bit where it's the real phone ringing and they're worried, and then we have a recall to that where it's like they think it's the real phone ringing and it turns out, oh no, it's upstairs.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, it continues to be fantastic. Cassidy continues to steal the show.
Yeah, he does.
The best.
He's my favorite. I watched just a bit before Sling TV crapped out on me of the following episode. Because he's left in Tulip's care at the end of this episode, we get a little more of them interacting right at the beginning of the next episode, which is priceless.
Oh, that's great. I have not. I intentionally did not watch it last night because I know that you were not likely to have watched it in time for this.
And even I probably couldn't have gotten through it all the way anyway, and then Sling just crapped out and ruined it. So I'll finish it up later. But going back to this episode, like you say, like it's solid episodes, moving things forward. I have heard from someone who has read the books that the books don't spend much time in the town, that we would already be out of the town and on our way to other things by now. And so there's quite a bit of divergence from the storyline of the comic books.
I almost want to say that's too bad because I really enjoy the town, but also it took all of one episode for me to fall in love with the town. So I don't doubt that in the next season, they'll be able to make me fall in love with all the characters in the next set piece.
But yeah, I don't have anything to add on top of what we've been saying.
Yeah, me neither.
I think we'll have more next week. Let's finish off with you finishing off with Daredevil, season 2, the wonderful follies of the ninjas.
Okay, look, I don't want to. You know how it's like you get fired up about a thing, you go through it a lot, and you get bored of hearing yourself say it. I'll keep it short. For anyone who liked season 2 of Daredevil, I'm halfway with you. I think every moment with the Punisher is freaking amazing from beginning to end. I think every moment with the Elektra ninja plotline got increasingly sillier and sillier, culminating in this insane. It belonged on the CW. It did not look like the Marvel Daredevil that we saw previously. Everything was super over the top, from the opening scene with a school bus full of ninjas to the fact that sometimes the ninjas had swords, sometimes they had Uzis, and also they had to the fact that the cops show up and they're too afraid to go inside because there's a couple of as they say, snipers with bows and arrows up there. But like at one point, dude's got the tracking thing on his ankle and it's beeping and flashing, and the ninjas are like, "Oh, what is this?" And the guy says, "It's a family heirloom. I can turn it off." And the weird, I don't know. It just felt so stilted, so over the top. There's some moments where the acting's not great, and I swear to God, Karen Page, she was hired. She spent the last third of the series being a writer who never wrote a damn thing until on Christmas Eve, when her editor shows up, says Happy Hanukkah, hands her a bottle of scotch, and says, "I want 2,000 words by the morning," because apparently what people want on Christmas morning is to read about vigilantes murdering people. It was so silly. It was so silly. It was so silly. And it's fine. It can be silly, but its real crime is that it lacked any surprise.
Is it a crime though? Because here's where I am. I get this way a lot when you really get fired up and angry at a show for not pleasing you.
No, I'm not angry. I'm just fired up.
I liked it. I didn't like it enough to like go toe to toe of like why I think it was better. But is it a crime?
Well, yeah. Okay, look, I don't literally mean that we need to imprison
I don't
the
mean
people
legally,
who made this. I mean an artistic crime. I
think, per Face for Radio has it right. Is it justified?
Oh, you did it! You did it! You did it! You blew it up! You bastards! God damn you all to hell!
No, but seriously, like here's where I'm at. I feel bad for liking it because I'm like, oh, maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm stupid.
So, here's the question. Were you giving it, were you giving it your full attention? Because I noticed there are certain things I can really enjoy if I'm kind of fudging around with other stuff while it's on.
I was pretty, well, it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure I was watching it mostly full attention.
Maybe it's a case of by parsing it out over time, because my brother watched it straight through and he didn't remember half the things I brought up that seemed really silly.
Yeah.
I guess the whole final third, it's like, did you not guess that the Punisher was gonna be sniping? And he's like, they're like, we got two places we can fight him, down in the basement or on the roof. What do you want? And I'm like, well, there's only one where a Deus Ex Machina can show up and start sniping the ninjas. So let's go to the roof. It's predictability that was a real bummer for me.
I just liked watching the ninjas run around being ninjas.
I
found that entertaining.
I didn't think the choreography was. There were brief moments that I thought it was good, but it wasn't really stunning choreography either. But whatever.
Yeah. Well, I also like the CW shows. So
and I like them too for what they are. But I loved the first season of Daredevil for being the antithesis of those CW shows. Of being gritty and hard and brutal and believable. And this was none of the above.
The one thing I do remember standing out is that him in his costume next to Elektra in her costume felt like a superhero show for the first time.
Yes, absolutely.
And not a gritty tale of Hell's Kitchen.
Is it just me too? But every time when it came time for action and Elektra picked up her scarf and put it over her check, like in my mind, she was always thinking, oh, let's kick some butt, but I want to smell my breath while I do it. Like if you've ever gone skiing, that's all I can think of. Okay, Gambling Man agrees with me in the chat. That's all.
No, Gambling Man hated it too, so he's right there.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. These are things that I think it's fine for you to absolutely hate it and be angry at it.
I don't hate it. It just distracted
but I mean, it would be fine if you did, and for me to like it. I guess I'm turning it into a broader conversation at this point, but I don't understand this thing of like, oh, I hated something, and so you all have to hate it too, or you're dumb. It's like, no, man, like we can like different things. And I like silly ninjas running around. I had a good time watching it. When she pulled her thing up over her face, I thought it looked cool. Like,
do you know
maybe
what it is?
I have no taste. I don't know.
Do you know what it is? It's that moment in the original Star Wars when the Death Star gate opens and one of those stormtroopers bonks his head. if you saw that, all you want to do is ask the rest of the world if they saw that too. That's what I'm experiencing. Like, did anyone else hear that moment that the guy was trying to pass off the anklet as a family heirloom?
I mean, the more you tell that part, the more I'm like, yeah, that really was dumb. Like, I forgave it at the time. I was like, all right, we'll just move on. But yeah, it's goofy.
And the detective shows up and says 4 times in a row, "Hold your fire." He goes, "Hold your fire, hold your fire." And the guy, he walks up. The guy says, "Oh, we can't get in. There's snipers." And he goes, "Okay, but hold your fire." And then it cuts to all these people coming out, and he goes, "Oh, hold your fire. These people are in shock." It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, that is it for this episode of Spoilerin Time. Thanks, everyone. Thanks again to Jeff Cannata. Go follow him on Twitter and go get the Slash Film podcast as well. And we will see you next time.
I didn't hate it.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.